pleasure of introducing our speaker for today, Mr. Stanley Edward. Stanley is a transpersonal coach, metaphysical practitioner, diversity, equity, and inclusion professional, and a performer at heart. Passionate about facilitating individual soul-level alignment and expansion as part of larger community healing. His long journey out of Christian fundamentalism as a teen and young adult eventually led to his self-acceptance as a gay, gender-fluid person, and paved the way for an increasingly inclusive understanding of life, gender, sexuality, spirituality, nonconformance, and metaphysical principles. Stanley is also a U.S. Army combat veteran. He currently serves as Military Equal Opportunity Advisor within the Army Reserve, where he trains and advises commanders, leaders, and soldiers on issues pertaining to organizational climate, positive leadership, inclusion, harassment, and discrimination. His military career has spanned more than 20 years in 5 countries, with additional assignments as a military police soldier, broadcast journalist, radio host, and public affairs trainer. Stanley enjoys speaking, teaching, facilitating individual and group meditations and other alignment practices, especially in unofficial capacities like this one, where everything he says and shares are his own words and not representative of the government or any of his other employers or affiliations. Please join us in welcoming Stanley as our speaker.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to check and make sure I'm not chopping my head off. I'm a little taller than Stephanie. So good to see everybody. I don't know if you can tell or not by my large amount of facial hair and other bushy hair growing out up here, but I'm no longer in the military.
Oh, right, that's why.
I retired last month.
That's why.
I'm very excited to be out. I got to pierce my ears, and my partner says I have to see what my beard will look like.
There you go.
Because my dad was Navy, so from a young age, I've always had a military haircut since I can remember. So this is as long as any of my hair has ever been. So we'll see how it goes. I think it looks a little ridiculous, but I'm getting over it.
There you go.
We'll see what happens. So it's really great to be here. I've got to update that on the bio and a couple of other things. Also wanted to say I'm really excited to be serving on the board this year with Stephanie. And thank you, and all the other folks who serve on the board, stepping into the role behind Trish as president, Stephanie stepping into the role as vice president of the board of directors. So we've had a chance to connect and talk quite a bit, and we're both really excited that y'all have trusted us with these roles and to be able to help out with the chapel this year. So we're looking forward to doing some really cool stuff and continuing to build on this incredible foundation this chapel has. And I want to talk a little bit about that today. I want to read to you as we start out the chapel purpose. And this is found on the chapel website if you want to look at it later on. But the chapel purpose says, our purpose is to provide a place to worship God within our own beings, free from dogma or the controlling influences of any one specific religion. This means the open acceptance of everyone and every religion, understanding that we all worship the same God within and without. Furthermore, the purpose of the chapel is to share the love and light in ourselves and others so that we are open and receptive to the flow of God's light and love. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's really beautiful.
I like that.
And, I'll never forget my first visit in this very room. Hasn't been that long, but it was 2017, towards the end of 2017. It may have been January 2018, but I think it was 2017. And I'm not a person who is new to visiting new church spaces, because my dad was Navy, so we moved every few years. So we'd always have to find a new church home wherever we moved. And as an adult, I've also somehow managed to move every few years, even though I've been in the reserve my entire career. And so I was always eager to visit new church spaces. That shifted a bit in my young adult years because the churches I grew up in were on the more fundamentalist side of Christianity and weren't very accepting of me as a gay person. And, I had to actually leave the church I was involved in ministry with because of that. And when that shifted and I started to accept reconcile my faith and sexuality, I had to be more keen about what church spaces I was visiting, because I knew there were some that I would not be welcome in. And so that took me to a lot of different church spaces in Hampton Roads, and I lived in Los Angeles for a while, and I never really knew what I was going to get. And that shifted again in 2017, because that was also when I started to explore my gender identity and realized that I was more gender nonconforming than the average person, and started wearing heels and doing whatever I wanted to embrace the gender that's very fluid and fluctuates inside of me. And I knew when I came to any new space, especially having just started kind of studying metaphysics and being more understanding of the vastness of all that is and our universe and the energy that's happening all around us and all the things that are happening that we can see and all the things that we can't see. I started to open up to more of that. And I knew that any space that I went to, I really wanted to bring as much of myself as possible without feeling like I had to hide anything. And the first day I walked in here, I was wearing heels and probably had some makeup on and whatever, I don't even remember, but I just remember I had to talk myself into it out in the car. Because any new space, right? Like just walking into any new space, I don't know if you have social anxiety like I do, but any new space, it's always a conversation I can have with myself. Like, you can do this, who are you gonna be? It's all cool, just smile, it's gonna be great. All this stuff. I think a lot of us have to do that sometimes. But I had that conversation with myself out, and I remember walking into this space and just feeling so peaceful and so welcome. And I have never, ever experienced anything negative in this space in terms of how people look at me or treat me. And that says a lot. And I want to highlight that because, if you look at
That needs an applause.
it does,
That
it
needs
does.
an applause.
Yes, it really does. It really
Yes,
does.
it does.
Because of the stuff that I just read to you from our purpose, we do a great job living up to that. And there are churches and organizations that have, we're welcoming, blah, blah, blah on their website, but you walk in and it's not, because I've been there, right?
Yeah.
So, and you've also got the ones who are like, we're welcoming to everybody, and you walk in and they're actually like, we want you to change everything about you, but we're welcoming you. I'm like,
No,
that's not true. That's not a good,
No.
accurate use of the word welcoming. So the chapel does a really great job like that. And it's not, and I want to highlight too, that it's not because every single person in here understands all the intricacies of the vast spectrums of sex and gender and sexual orientation and understands pronoun usage and all of those things that we talk about when we're training folks. That's not why. The reason, I think, is because of our purpose and why we're here and how we're all connected to source, and we're all intent on finding the divinity in our connection with God and source within ourselves and focusing on that foundation of unconditional love and acceptance that's written into our purpose statement.
Yeah.
Right? We have a great foundation here to be able to do the work of accepting and loving people just as they are, where they are, without any expectation of change, including embracing all religions and all experiences of life. Like, that's written into our, not doctrine, but like our doctrine, right?
Yeah.
That's who we are. And that's what makes this space really special to me, because not only was I fully embraced and accepted in this space, but I was also encouraged to develop my own abilities and find my own path and know that it's not going to look like yours. It's not going to look like yours. It's not going to look like yours. But wherever I find myself, I have a place here. And that's what I really want to highlight here, and just say that this space, with its purpose statement and the family here and our foundation of unconditional love, coupled with all the stuff we get to study and experience with metaphysical principles and all the backgrounds that our ministers bring and our board brings and our members bring. I mean, have you seen the newsletter and the calendar? We're doing a whole bunch of stuff around here, and then we partner with Jenny and Jenny's place, and we got the other church on the other side of the water, the spiritualist community. There's so much stuff going on here, and it's stuff that encourages us to go within and find our unique path. And that, I am convinced, is what this world needs right now. We need less of, you need to look like us, and more of, how can we help you love yourself, love everybody else, and find your path?
Yes.
That's what we need here. And so this year, as we move into 2023 and we move into all these new spaces, and Stephanie talked earlier about all the things that are going to be growing and changing and transforming in our lives and our communities and the world around us, I want to ask you, what is it that makes you unique and makes you who you are? What is it about your path that you want to bring into our chapel community this year? Maybe in a new way, maybe in a bigger way, maybe in a different way. Whatever it is, what can you offer this community to share your love and light with us the same way that you see the people in here sharing it with you? So think about that. What are the things that make you unique and your path unique? What are the things that you want to do to really share your love and light this year with us? because what I see is a very, very cool, growth-oriented year for this community we have here. Beyond these walls, beyond Zoom. I'm so grateful for Zoom, especially the last few years. We get to have conversations with folks online and in chapel at the same time. We're so blessed to live in this year where we have this ability to reach out and reach so many different people. So I invite you to consider what your gifts and abilities are that you want to share with us and how you want to be nourished this year too. What are the things that you want to do as a community? What are the things that you want to experience? And I invite you to, email us. If you get the newsletter, you can just reply to that anytime and send an email and folks will see it. So just think about that this year. So I want to take a moment just to breathe. I know we had a meditation already, but I'm going to invite you just for a moment, if you're comfortable, to just close your eyes and just take a nice couple of slow, easy, deep breaths. And allow yourself to center again in your chair, wherever you are. And just listen to that still, small voice inside of you. And just think to yourself, ask Source, ask your high self, ask your soul, what is it that I want to see in my life this year? What is it that I want to share more of myself with others this year? What is it that I want help with this year? And lastly, how can I remind myself that I am unconditional love infused in every fiber of my being? Take another nice, slow, easy, deep breath. And if you're a note taker or a writer downer, write anything down that came to mind if you want to do that. Just create a space later today or maybe later this week to go back and just reflect on that again. Because we are all one big happy family here. This is who we have to be around us, who we have to support us, the people in this room, the people on Zoom, the people who can't be here today but are going to watch the recording later. These are the folks around us, and these are beautiful, incredible folks. So I've been taking time to get to know more of the board and more of the ministers and leaders the last couple of weeks. It's been really moving to me to see just the depth of the heart of motivation that the people here have. Everybody wants to do really great things in this space, and it's so inspiring. And we all have gifts to give. So I want to leave that with you today and just encourage you that there's not any single part of your path that's been wasted, not one part of your life that has been wasted. And every single piece of it has meaning and purpose. And a lot of it is what we make of it and what we decide we want to turn it into. It doesn't mean we don't have pain, we don't have problems and things we want to change. That's part of life too. But we have a choice of whether we allow it to be really painful for really long amounts of time and to hurt us long term, or if we want to work to shift it and to turn it into something else. We have so much innate power inside of us through our connection with Source and love. And that's a lot of what I've learned in this chapel and in this space too. And I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for letting me be here.